What has happened to the weather? Oh my God, it's chucking it down. A rainy day in Chester. I'm just passing through on my way back from somewhere else actually, and I recalled that we'd supplied the Chester Beer Festival with some Murgy for their event a couple of weeks ago, and all the empties from the event were returned here to the brewery tap. I will put their details on the screen at this point. But it's a lovely little place. Associated with Spit and Feathers. I think it's their brewery tap, actually. I guess it must be. Anyway, they've got my empty and a couple of other empties for some other, one local brewery and another brewery, or two breweries, whose product's been supplied by Beer Trading, based in Middlewich. So we've got one for Mobley Brew House here, MBH, as they're more recently known. They're 5 minutes from our place, so I'll drop that back to them. We've got my Murgy. We've also got a St Austell mild West. Obviously, we're nowhere near St Austell, but the return point for this is also in Middlewich at Beer Trading. And a Fine Ales Jarl, not sure how to pronounce it, but that one, it's a very nice beer as well. So we'll get those back to Beer Trading. And actually, speaking to the lovely Jane from Beer Trading, there's a good opportunity for us to do something with them. As you know, we're selling ones and twos to pubs directly and bars directly in the very local area, because logistically that's easy for us to do, and I don't have the means to be sending products to Blackpool and West Bromwich and Derby and Nottingham without, driving the brewery dray all the way to drop off one cask and pick it up. But a distributor could possibly help us, depending on their expectations of margin, etc. So I'm going to have a chat with Jane this week, go for a coffee one evening, and we'll see if there's something we can do together to help get Murgy, Moston, Cross Stout delivered a little bit further afield. And if I don't have to pick the casks up, then there you go. There's an opportunity to sacrifice a little bit of margin on the sell price on the basis that I don't have to drive 50 miles to go pick up the empties. So we'll see where that one leads. Just checking I haven't got a parking ticket. We're all right. I just thought I'd give you a quick look in. We're not on in this pub, I've got to say, but there's always a chance. I've just been speaking to Matt. He's going to have a chat with the boss, see if we can have a conversation. So look at these handfuls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's a thing of beauty, honestly. And some of the beers on here, Spit and Feathers, obviously, because they're associated with Spit and Feathers. Jaipur, can't go wrong with that. Osset, can't go wrong with that. Nice Cloudwater there, fuzzy, hazy pale. And then what have we got as well? Cloudwater Helles. What a great beer place. Magnificent. And some bottles and cans in the corner there. So, yeah, magnificent. I will definitely be popping in here when I'm off duty for a couple. Good afternoon. I am in Frimley, which is sort of Farnborough way, with the real job. I've just been doing some electronic-y things at a company around the corner. We met with Nick and Jane, who took me for lunch afterwards at this place, the Hungry Horse, where I had pub classic scampi and chips. But that's not why I'm recording this video. And I shouldn't be anyway, because I'm actually on day job time right now, so need to make a move. But just around the corner is a homebrew shop that I didn't know was here, and I've bought from them online before now. So I'm going to pop in because I need some hose for my gas lines. And I was going to order it when I got home, but might as well pick it up on the way past. Then I got to drive home and a few conference calls. Here we are, hope you can hear me, noisy road. Here we are, the homebrew shop. I've bought from this place, and now I recognise the logo now. I've bought from this place online. John Guest Fittings, he helped me out with. I've just been in and had a chat with Nigel. He's happy to let me film a little bit, so let's take you in and have a little nosy round. It's lovely to see in there, let me show you. An actual, fully stocked homebrew shop. I'll give you a little tour, or what I can remember anyway. These are decent. I wonder if that's something we should think about, fresh work kits, certainly for the local homebrew community, maybe. Not that I'm not busy enough, you know what I mean, but maybe one for the future. But loads of kits, give you a tour around, plenty of ingredients, some full sacks as well. Every malt that I can think of, they've got here, nice little packs, 500 grams, 1 kilo. Good hop selection, all vac packed. There's loads of refrigeration out the back as well. Not just beer, obviously, wine too. And Twisted Mist, whatever that is, wine making kit. Tequila Sunrise wine, magnificent. And lots of cleaning stuff. I've just bought a few bits and bobs. I just came in for line, beer line, or actually CO2 line for the canning machine. But when we're putting lids onto bottles, the crown caps on the bottles, the peracetic acid is a bit aggressive. And obviously they're steel lids, I guess. So I wanted something that's not going to make them rust. And Star San / Chem San, as it is there, is the stuff. Not just ingredients, lots of accessories, filters, bits and bobs. Oh, work chiller, counterflow. That's not bad. Bit smaller than mine. Bottles, buckets. Isn't it great to see? You know, our little homebrew shops are pretty much all closed now. So you're forced online, and although this place does a good online business, you know, on the weekends particularly, you just come in and grab what you need. Good yeast selection here. Oh, I'll show you some more yeast in a minute, but bottle brushes and whatnot. And then in here, under refrigeration, wye yeast. We don't use liquid at the brewery, but certainly did at home. And he's got a great selection here, pretty much everything. It's a nice Munich lager there as well. Did I tell you we were thinking of doing a lager? Again, one for next couple of weekends, I think. I've got all the hops ready, just need to refine the recipe somewhat. So yeah, the homebrew shop. Are we in Farnham or are we in Farnborough? Farnborough, not Farnham, all the same, by the airport, yeah. There you go. Oh, and this is Nigel, by the way. Hello, Nigel. Hi. So yeah, give it a whirl. Lovely place. Very helpful. This is my purchase down there. 30 metres of line and my little thingy of Chem San for the lids. Right, I've got to hit the road. I'm going to be late home. Good morning. Back at the brewery. Sunday. 23rd of July, 2023. I have got completed 660 litres of Murgy Straight. Empty, rammed full. So don't need to brew anything just now. So we are currently racking this last lot. I've got to find somehow of getting all these containers into those cold rooms. So Elliot's coming to help me with that in a bit. It's going to be a struggle, honestly. We're going to have 10 9-gallon casks, 8 30-litre kegs, and the kegs are actually not for sale as kegs. Well, could do, but they're not intended to be for sale as kegs. They're intended to fill bottles because we have now cracked it, guys. Cracked it. We've been bottling, Elliot and me, Friday night, and we've got crystal clear, bright beer with 0 sedimentation in the bottle. Carbonated, ready to be consumed, and I am so incredibly happy that we've cracked that. I don't mind bottle conditioning. I've told you a million times, you've heard it all before, and I know you don't, but we've been locked out of a few retail opportunities because it just needs to be designed for, you know, the public, not us beer weirdos. So now I can sell to pubs, bottle shops, farm shops, etc, etc. So I made these. Elliot and me bottled them, spent hours mastering the process. We got it done, and I've sold half of them, basically gone immediately to people that had been waiting for boxes for shops and whatnot. The other half I put on the website, and I didn't tell you guys. It was only Friday, right, and it's Sunday now, and I sold half of them. so some of you keep checking in the websites to check when there's stock available. So thank you. I was going to tell you today and announce it that the bottles were back, but you beat me to it. So I think my rough calculation just a minute ago is I think I've got 23 packs left that we can ship. So if you want some, get online and buy it. If you miss it, do not worry, because these will be carbonated in a week, and then we'll bottle and ship, in 2 weeks' time. I won't put them on the web until they're actually carbonated and ready to go. Secondly, while we had some time, we had the gear set up, we did this very small canning run. These are not for sale because I didn't sanitize the cans. I didn't buy the cans, they came with the machine. So they haven't been adequately sanitized and de-dusted. These are just purely to check for leaks and whatnot and seams. And they're brilliant. They're brilliant. I mean, not one dribbler. I had two that I burst when I was a bit rough with the machine while we were actually canning. But the ones that have been canned and seamed properly, absolutely perfect. No dribbles. They've been stored upside down, thrown around. Really pleased with them. So that now opens up canning to us. And for ease of postage, cost of postage, and just generally a smaller eco footprint, I think, in our circumstances, I think cans are probably the way to go. If we find a way to, certainly for locals, to get bottles back to us to clean and reuse, etc., I definitely am looking at that. But for now, cans are lighter to ship, and I can get more in a box, and more on a van, and blah blah blah. So I need to think it through a bit more carefully. But cans, I think, is the way. But I don't have can labels, so got to order some can labels too. So what you will see soon is, well, already bottles of Murgy. There'll be another set of bottles of Murgy because I've still got those empty bottles up there. And then in a couple of weeks' time, you'll see canned Murgy. You will also see canned Get Locky, and not yet brewed. The two after that, the next brew of Moston Dragon that we do, I will can some, and the next brew of Cross Stout, I will also can some. So we should have the ability to do a little mix and match thing on the website or something. But yeah, so if you want any of these Murgies, I've tried them, they're great. Buy away. Thank you for your orders in advance, much appreciated. Right, I better get back to cask washing, and then I'll tell you what else we've been up to. And racking was completed. We got it all done. 18 containers, sanitised, filled. You didn't see Elliot; he was in the background, and he helped with the racking, and then certainly getting it put away. I couldn't have done it without him. So they're far too heavy, and we needed to go 3 high in some of those cold rooms. I don't want to do that on my own; it's too dangerous. So it needs 2 people to lift them. They're 50 kilos, those containers. So yeah, not a one-man job. But all put away, tidied up, cleaned up, locked up, came home, went to my mum's for a bite to eat Sunday evening, Sunday lunch at night, and then came home, went to bed. And now it's Monday, and I'm about to start work in an hour. But I thought I'd just bring you up to speed with some of the other stuff that happened. So that was Sunday, that video that you've just seen at the brewery, but on Saturday, I went to the Manchester Craft Beer Festival with Stephen Taylor from Tay Brew Co., another little start-up brewery in Middlewich down the road here. We've been chatting through his start-up process. I've helped him out with a couple of bits, and I'm sure he'll help me out as well in the future. It tends to be how these things work. And we went up to the Manchester Craft Beer Festival just with the idea of, I didn't need to brew, so it was like, let's just go get a few beers and chill out up there and see what it's all about. We had trade tickets, so we headed up and met some amazing breweries, small, large, in between, start-ups, more mature organisations, and had some really great conversations with people from these organisations. And for many of them, the original founders had come and they were serving beer and talking about how they'd set up and the challenges that they went through. And it was comforting, actually, to compare their stories with our story, with my story here. It's easy to think that you're the only one going through this crap at 5 a.m. and it's minus 12 and everything's frozen and the pumps don't work. You're not on your own, actually. Everybody that I spoke to who'd set up a brewery has gone through the same pain. Maybe not exactly the same challenges, but similarly frustrating things that knock you off, knock your confidence, and set you back a little bit, and you push through. Not because you're making a lot of money, because you're not, but because you're passionate about what you do and you want to build something and create something. And it was nice to see that I'm not on my own. Far from it, actually. I've made some notes, but I can't remember everybody that we spoke to, and that's terrible. But I remember some of the conversations that we did have that sort of stuck with me. And I met Jack Hobday from Ansbach and Hobday, who travelled all the way up from that London, and we had a good conversation about their setup and some of the challenges that they had getting to where they are, and the sort of acceleration that they've experienced recently as well, and that's great to see. They had London Black, obviously, there, which is a magnificent porter, and I really, really enjoyed it. I've tried it once before. I had it at the Euston Tap, at London Euston train station. There's a tap outside, brewery tap. Well, not a brewery tap, but a tap room outside with some magnificent beers down there. So enjoyed that. Met Dan from Hideaway, and Alex, I think it was, from Strange Times. They're both Salford-based breweries. Salford, born in Salford, by the way. Salford were there representing. It was good to connect with them. And again, recent startups, formed in lockdown, etc., and all the challenges that presented as well. And they've, forced their way to the front and are doing great things. And Red Willow, who are a very, very strong local brewery. I see them everywhere. The guy's a genius, and he concocts some amazing beers, and respect to them. They are all around me here. We sit alongside them on the pumps in some places, and it's a privilege. And I know a few of you guys were there too, because you came up and said hello, and that's always very, very weird when people know you, but you don't know them. And they're like, how you doing, mate? I'm like, I have no idea who you are. Shit, mate. So thanks for coming and saying hello, actually. It's always nice to chat. And big shout out to Gav P, 1979, from the Homebrew Forum, who was with his mates, who wondered who the hell this guy called Chops was, which is me. Right, next. I've got 1 day a week, as you know. Well, you should know by now if you've watched these videos. Saturday. I've got to get it all done in a Saturday. It will leak into Sunday, inevitably. So we spend a bit of Sunday morning as well. But if you think about that time available, currently an 8 cask brew on our 2.5 barrel kit, that's 330 litres, 8 casks or 10 kegs, that's about 6 hours to turn it around. And then there's some cleanup. If everything goes to plan, I can have it all done in 6.5 hours probably and home. And that's 8 casks. So, average, let's say 4 weeks a month, that's 32 casks I can produce in that time. I can do a double brew, so that's 13-ish hours. So we brew into the big fermenter, brew again into the big fermenter. So it's a double brew day. And that pretty much fills the day. Then when you consider packaging, yesterday that packaging run that we did took us a bit longer because I was chatting and I had a few phone calls that happened, but that's a 4-hour process, I would say, to get all that packaged, including cleaning the cask, sanitizing, putting the keystones in, filling, shives, labeling, put away, and then got to clean the floor down, etc. And then if we're canning, we then, a bit later, we take the kegs out that have carbonated, and then we do the canning run. That's another 4 hours probably. So you can see, you can do the maths, right? There's not enough time. When you consider last month, typically in a month, we'll sell anywhere between 24 casks / kegs in an average month, up to 40 in a busy month if there are beer festivals and things on. So in order to keep pace with that, I've got to brew every single weekend, or I've got a double brew, and sometimes I've got a double brew and single brew every weekend of the month. And that fills the capacity or the time capacity that we have to fulfill the demand that's out there. So we've reached this kind of equilibrium. I can't make any more beer because I don't have the time. So I can't sell any more beer because we don't have the time to make it. So how do we solve that little problem? And we've got a few options. One is hire a brewer. A day a week, if I can find one, a day a week, come in, make the beer exactly the way that I make it. And I'm quite protective of that. That gives us the extra beer, but still, it needs to be packaged. It needs to be canned or put into casks. So that doesn't, that scales, the packaging scales. Even if you make more beer, you still add in more time. But the time that I'm not brewing is then available to do that packaging. So that's an option. I'm not leaning towards that because I just don't know if we can sell that beer. I suppose it's a confidence issue. If we can sell the beer, and I know we can definitely sell the beer, then that would be a no-brainer. But I'd hate to commit to somebody and then find that it's not sustainable. So I've sort of parked that one for now. The second scenario is Elliot's about to finish his master's degree in design. He does his final hand-in on, I think it's the 14th of August, industrial design he's studying. And I'd really love for him to work in that field, at least for a period of time. He's studied hard, he's spent money, and I'd hate for that knowledge to go stale. It would be great if he could get a couple of years in an organisation, so at least he's done it. But he can see what Four Priests could become with more investment of time. And he's 22 and he's got no commitments and he's got no mortgage and he's got no debts. And there's never a better time, I think, to really get stuck into something you can make your own. So that's another option. But how do we get more beer out of the time available is the key. And I'll keep looking at this little kit that we've got and we're spinning out 8 casks. And I know with bigger equipment, I could produce more casks in the same amount of time because the brew process is essentially the same apart from the packaging. So I've been looking out for some bigger gear and I've found some and I've committed to buy it. And it's 10 hectolitres. So that's 1,000 litre mash tun compared with our current one, which is about 400 litres. 1,000 litre mash tun, 1,000 litre boil kettle, copper, and an HLT to support that. That will allow us to produce 20 plus casks in one brew. So that's 6 hours where we're outputting 8 at the moment. We can produce 20 in that amount of time, which means I don't have to brew every single Saturday to output the same amount of beer. And if I did brew every Saturday, then we can produce enough beer to satisfy an increase in customer demand. So that's what we're doing. I've bought it. I haven't paid for it yet. I've bought it, committed to buy it from another brewery that's closed down. And end of this month, which is almost upon us, we'll conclude the deal and get it transported down. So it's 3-phase in the copper, so we've got a little bit of electrical work that we need to do, but essentially it's ready to go. And I can scale my recipes for that, which will free up a lot of time to allow me to do some of the other stuff that we need to do, including packaging more products, talking to more pubs, to try and fill a little bit of that capacity. And that should hopefully take us to the point where that capacity is filled and we do have enough income for somebody else to come and help with the brewing, and certainly help with some of the other activities required around the brewery. So that's where we are. So you'll see that kit arrive in the next few weeks. Obviously we'll get it all down on video and then transfer over from the old kit to the new kit. So that old kit, I've got to decide what to do with it. I'd love to keep it as well, but we just don't have the space, as you know. So we'll see where that takes us. Anyway, that's where we are. So enjoy your week, guys, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.